there, which is a no. It is a roundabout no, but it's still a no. I'm not close.
All right, so I have very contrasting things to say about this, and I felt compelled to share my thoughts about this as both a person who is considered not conventionally attractive and a person living with a stalker. So I've been living with a stalker for quite some time. I have more than one. The one thing I feel like everyone needs to understand about stalkers is that when you tell them no, they do not care. Some of them are just excited by the fact that you are speaking to them at all. They may respond very violently with lots of anger, lots of passion, and things like that. But that will slowly twist back into, obsession, and they will abso-fucking-lutely continue to pursue you. So the idea of saying no and saying leave me alone being enough is just not true. And I think anybody who's lived with a stalker knows that. These people are usually not obsessed because they can't read your signals. They're obsessed with you usually because they have some other mental issue that's made them very attached to you. All that being said, I'm in the process of working on a video about baby reindeer for my channel, Movies in the Closet. And I feel the need to also point this out because Donnie, the main character in the show, is incredibly sexually dysfunctional. And at first, you kind of think he's kind of a jerk for it. And then you recognize that so much of that is unresolved trauma. And a lot of the reason why he connects with Martha is that Martha sees him in the way that a lot of other people were not seeing him, in a way that he frankly really, really wanted to be seen at that particular moment in his life. Watching this show was kind of a mind fuck because one of the main themes that my stalker always likes to say is that no one appreciates me enough. Nobody appreciates me as much as I should be appreciated, right? And that was the hook. That was the hook that got Donnie to respond to Martha. Donnie is a failed comedian who moved to London to make it happen, and it didn't happen. He's bombing at his shows. His relationships are falling apart. He experienced sexual violence that led to him having hypersexuality and then, being in these very tumultuous relationships. One of them being a relationship with a transgender woman who he is very closeted about. And a lot of men, when they're in that particular phase of their life, they are going to respond to people who give them attention, you know? And I think the thing that I appreciate a lot about Baby Reindeer is it is a pretty realistic portrayal. And I didn't know actually when I was watching it that it is based on the main actor's real experience with a stalker. And that's why it feels so like accurate because he's just talking about his own life, right? But like, let's bottom line this right quick. Martha is not a conventionally attractive woman. And for some men in this position, there's a bit of safety they initially feel when they are interacting with a woman who's not considered to be conventionally attractive, who is responding positively to them because they're getting a bit of the attention that they want from other people, right? Martha was celebrating him as a comedian and was also complimenting him as a man, as a masculine man, right? And that's exactly what he kind of wanted to hear in this particular moment in his life, right? And so the debate that people are having right now about whether or not he's a victim, I think, is a little murky because hands down, Martha is a stalker who is violent, who assaulted him, who is 100% not a good guy, right? However, it's also true that Donnie did react to that. Donnie did lead her on. Donnie did tell her that she was attractive, right? He did respond back to her flirtation, which, yeah, I guess could give people mixed signals that may make them think that you're more into them than you actually are. Something that I've sort of struggled with in the past, not so much now, because now I just don't believe anyone. I think I'm cute. I think I'm hot, sexy, and cool or whatever. But being a Black woman who is trans, who lives in Los Angeles, there are a lot of people for whom I am not their preference, right? And what people will often do is they will overly compliment me. They will overly be, celebratory of me because they know that I'm different. They understand that I'm probably not being celebrated. And in certain situations, I have interpreted that as somebody being attracted to me. And the thing that I've always been really uncomfortable with, when you're a trans woman especially, you are constantly sort of hoisted into this position where people are going to look at every intimate interaction you have as possibly coercive because of how repulsed they are by who you are, right? So these people who would compliment me, some of them would be people that I would flirt back to, and you could sort of see them recoil like I was a predator or some shit after they just spent all this time like complimenting me and telling me that I looked sexy and things like that, when in reality they didn't at all feel that way. They were just sort of saying it because they felt sorry for me and they wanted me, they thought that I needed to hear it. Now let's make it clear, I don't need any of that validation from anyone, but it has kind of put me in a position occasionally where I interpret somebody as being interested in me when they absolutely are not. And some of these people who do this, who know that I'm attracted to them, but know that they're not attracted to me, will intentionally avoid the conversation of whether or not they are interested in, me, right? They will always leave the door open the way that Donnie did. They will always kind of like not quite say it. And I understand that for some men, these sort of like half rejections are valid, but I think some of us really do need to hear the solid no. Really, really do need to hear the solid no. Like, for example, there's this guy that I've been interested in, and, I was sort of forward with him recently. Um, and and I basically was like, we're in the BDSM scene. I was interested in bottoming for him, and he when I asked him about it, was like, well, a bunch of us are going to the dungeon later this week. You're totally welcome to join along with us, right? That's not a no. That could be interpreted as, um, you know, I'm still interested. Come to the dungeon with us and we'll play or might play, whatever. It's not quite a no, right? And I know that part of why he said this to me is because he is really interested he likes the fact that I give him attention. He likes the fact that I flirt with him and I smile at him and things like that, even if he's not interested. And I didn't really get a sense that he wasn't interested until he said that, right? Because people who are interested in playing with me, when I say, hey, I'm down to bottom for you, are really excited by it. They're not like, oh, I'm going to this thing with other people. And you know what, especially when it comes to the BDSM scene, I've had that experience many times where someone will invite me to the dungeon and they know that I'm attracted to them. They know that I'm going to stand around and like be excited about potentially bottoming for them, when in reality they're not interested in me. And so then I have to watch them pursue all of these other people, all because they didn't just say honestly that they weren't interested in me. And I'm not somebody who likes to chase people, but if someone makes me feel like they're attracted to me and I'm also attracted to them and they say they're going to be at this thing, well, maybe I will go to that thing so that I can connect with them, right? Very rarely in my life have I had conversations with men that are like, I am not attracted to you. I am not interested in you. I don't want anything sexual to do with you, anything romantic to do with you. A lot of men enjoy the attention they get from women, but don't really want to say honestly that they don't reciprocate that attention. And it took Martha being more violent, more aggressive, more in his face for him to actually say that. When in reality, there are actually some pretty, decent ways that you could say, hey, um, you know, maybe I don't want to do that with you, right? Like you don't need to leave the door open, but far too many men leave the door open because they like attention. And that's definitely what Donnie's doing. And that's 100% a reflection of the position that he was in, the amount of trauma that he experienced up to that point. It is inaccurate to say that he wanted to be attacked and to be chased and to be stalked and to experience what he experienced, but it is accurate to say that he enjoyed the attention because he did.